welcome to Business Line. The row between Apple and the FBI over data access to the phone of the San Bernardino attacker started when the authorities asked it for help in unlocking this iPhone. That is the developing story, and the two sides have been ratcheting up the debate about what data access law enforcement should have in investigations, particularly involving terrorism. Where to draw the line between privacy and public safety, and that's the focus of this edition. When it was asked for help in unlocking the phone of the San Bernardino attacker, Apple wrote an open letter to its customers. Apple said this issue needs to be publicly discussed and that divisive discussion is underway. Before we look at the pros, cons and everything in between, let's establish exactly what has been asked for. The FBI wants Apple to disarm the iPhone security feature. That is a 4-digit passcode for which there are 10,000 possible combinations. The Bureau could do it manually by guessing the code, but that takes time because when you enter the wrong code, the iPhone delays your next try for longer and longer periods of time. The FBI wants that feature disabled, and it also wants Apple to allow the passcode to be tried electronically rather than manually, which could be done in perhaps just seconds. Now, let me take you back to September 2014. That's when Apple introduced new encryption for its iPhone operating system, so even the company couldn't unlock it for law enforcement. That was done in response to increased digital privacy concerns. Since then, Apple has not changed either its mind or its settings, although it has come under strong pressure to do that from the FBI's director and some politicians. Backing for the Bureau has come from the US Justice Department and Manhattan's district attorney, who actually accused Apple of behaving like a teenager. And even Donald Trump, who has threatened to switch to Samsung. Other technology companies are backing the iPhone maker. Google's chief executive Sundar Pichai said access is already being given to law enforcement based on valid legal orders. The Information Technology Industry Council, a lobbying group that represents Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Samsung and BlackBerry, is also standing behind Apple. This battle is in the US, but what's the situation in Europe?
The fight between Apple and the US law enforcement agency, the FBI, over access to a terrorist's iPhone is raising concerns in Europe. Apple is refusing to cooperate, arguing that creating a tool to unlock encrypted data on the phone would weaken the security of hundreds of millions of Apple devices. The standoff has implications for agreements between Brussels and Washington on the sharing of information between US and European law enforcement agencies. And Apple's argument seems to resonate with the European Data Protection Supervisor Giovanni Buttarelli. He told Euronews business reporter Samela Tushtido,
the large majority of people still believes that security of our data networks and infrastructures is essential. Could you imagine what it means to allow hackers in the world to enter into our devices just because we have dismantled the secure infrastructure we have today? No. It would be a big mistake.
Businesses need to be sure data transferred across the Atlantic is secure, and the Apple FBI case threatens to undermine trust in a recent transatlantic data protection agreement designed to ensure people's personal information is protected to EU standards when it's sent to the US.
Euronews' Samela Tushtido followed up with a few more questions for the European Data Protection Supervisor at the Delphi Economic Forum in Greece, and this is what he said.
Apple has cooperated a lot with the FBI to provide all the relevant information they have, as well as Facebook did weeks ago with regard to the boss of the mafia bosses in Italy. That's natural, that's obvious. The question is now about something else, because Apple has been requested to build another infrastructure to crack the current one, and this is extremely risky in terms of security of data. The UK government has submitted a proposal, a bill, to decrypt encrypted information, but it is being de facto rejected by the parliament. So none of the democratic legislators, governments in our countries till today has been so accountable to introduce such a measure. So why we should have such a shortcut? Imagine the same software in the hands of totalitarian countries. That's unreasonable. The security of billions of mobile devices is at risk. We should not undermine the security of data just because of the curiosity of collecting more evidence in one minor case. So that's a challenge for the future. We should better realize where the pendulum is to be placed.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
That's what the European Data Protection Supervisor thinks, but this is a global debate illustrated by police in Brazil arresting a top Facebook executive over a case involving WhatsApp. The social network didn't want to release data from that messaging service.
Facebook has denounced as extreme and disproportionate the arrest in Brazil of this man, Diego Zodan, its vice president for Latin America. Seen here with Brazil's president, Zodan was released on Wednesday after being held for questioning overnight. A court had ruled Facebook had ignored a judicial order relating to WhatsApp, the messaging service it owns. The case involves a drug trafficking investigation. Last December, a judge temporarily blocked WhatsApp completely in Brazil for failing to comply with court orders to share information in a criminal case. Facebook says it can't access encrypted WhatsApp data.
Apple's about to make the FBI's life even harder by unleashing a new iPhone onto the world. The 21st of March is the final day chosen by Cupertino for a new launch event. Coincidentally, that's one day before its scheduled court appearance against the US government. But this is IT, not a law seminar, so let's round up the rumors about the device, which will reportedly widen the current iPhone range. The name should be SE. Essentially, it will be a pumped-up version of the old iPhone 5S, but with slightly curved edges around the sides. It will feature a 4-inch screen, much to the delight of those who have small pockets, but also the latest A9 and M9 chips for power and movement tracking, an upgraded camera and NFC technology to enable Apple Pay. Now, traditionally, Apple unveils the new iPhones in September, so why did they change the routine? Well, it's almost an emergency maneuver. The latest financial figures showed something investors had dreaded for some time, sales growth slowing down with a big chance of contraction in the current quarter. So now you get the reason behind the rumor that the new iPhone SE will go on sale immediately without the usual pre-order system at a lower price than the 6 and the 6 Plus. Ha! What you wouldn't do for growth. That was it. That was IT.
And that was it for now. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.